My name is Joe Coppin. I'm the chair of the Depth Psychology with Emphasis in Psychotherapy program. We call it the Depth Psychotherapy program for short. I'm a Ph.D. and I have a Ph.D. in clinical psychology, and I've been teaching and chairing programs at Pacifica for about 12 years. Essentially, the program fills the need for people who are already therapists. They're already practicing as licensed therapists or perhaps registered interns, but they want to deepen their education, particularly in depth psychology. And at the same time, they don't want to enroll in a program that's license-driven. This program, because it's not license-driven, because the assumption is that one is already licensed coming into the program, gives students an opportunity to really immerse specifically in the practice of psychotherapy from a depth perspective. So if one looks at the curriculum, for example, between this program and, say, a typical clinical psychology program, this program has a great deal more coursework focused on psychotherapy, including practical coursework as well as theoretical coursework. So the character of the program is twofold in a way. It follows two strong themes. The first one has to do with practice. And so our students come into the program ready to present casework to their colleagues, to faculty, to participate in a group supervision sort of format and really dig into the cases from a variety of depth perspectives, Jungian, psychoanalytic, archetypal, and others. So there's a great deal of focus on working with case material. It's very experiential in that way. But also, as side by side with that, there's a great deal of emphasis on doing research that derives from the case material. So the casework feeds the research, and doing the research feeds back into doing casework. They kind of work side by side. So if you look at the curriculum, there's a great focus on clinical work and side by side with a focus on research. The material of depth psychology doesn't really lend itself to standard modes of research. So at Pacifica, we've begun to explore alternative ways of doing research that lend themselves, methods that lend themselves to the kinds of data that one gets in depth psychology. Data from the unconscious, images, imagination, dreams, that sort of thing. So it's a very fresh and exciting way of doing research with the psyche. There's a lot of rigor to the program. It is a rigorous educational program. We follow the scholar-practitioner model of psychology, which sees us as practicing psychotherapists who are also scholars. And that's the heart of the program, is that image. I actually don't know of another program that's a Ph.D. program in depth psychotherapy. There are many, there are some other ways to go about that. There are analytical institutes, so you want to focus on becoming a Jungian analyst. That will produce a depth orientation for sure, but it'll be very specifically Jungian. And it won't necessarily have the interdisciplinary piece that goes along with it, nor the emphasis on scholarship that one always has as part of a Ph.D. program. It'll be very clinical. Or you could go into a clinical psychology program, but that again is going to have a lot of emphasis on the wider scope of practice of psychology, not so much directly on psychotherapy. So this, I think, is quite a unique program, both because it's a Ph.D. that is completely focused on psychotherapy, but also because of the depth orientation. There really aren't very many schools that offer Ph.D.s in depth psychology. Pacifica is pretty much the only one I know of. It's a very exciting program that, in a sense, carries the fantasies and dreams of many of our core faculty. The idea of being able to imagine together as a group what is depth psychotherapy, and to realize that it's a somewhat ill-defined phenomenon, somewhat ill-defined practice, and we are coming together and we're putting it together, we're dreaming it together with our students into some sort of shape. We'll be writing about it and publishing it and researching it. it's a very exciting collective enterprise. Each year that we've been taking applications, we get more interest, more enthusiasm, and that goes along with the fact that the program is actually more defined as it goes along. We're more clear about what we're doing, and with all that, with all the fact that there have been some changes along the way, the central dream is still there. It's still solid. That this is a program that enables people who are practicing as psychotherapists to take the next step in their career and move into a Ph.D. program without having to go through the whole licensing curriculum again, and really instead focusing on the actual work, what it means, what's interesting about it, what's scary about it, and what's thrilling about it.